Movement was a big topic of conversation during the Battlefield 6 beta, and this has been addressed by DICE in the new community update debrief for everything that is changing before launch of Battlefield 6. Before I get into all the details, be sure if you enjoyed the video to hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, hit that sub button as well. And be sure to check out Control Freak. All their information is down in the description. You can use my code at checkout to save yourself 12%. Now, when it comes to movement, a lot of people were kind of upset with the way that you could slide and, of course, jump shot and jump slide shot. And a lot of people felt like it was too much like Call of Duty, that it should be back to that base Battlefield movement. Now, when it comes to just movement speed, walking around, not talking about sliding and jumping, a lot of people felt like the game was too fast. But it has been compared to other Battlefield titles, and there's other Battlefield titles where the movement is faster. I'm not sure if all of you played Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, but the movement and time to kill in that game was really quick. Now, you couldn't jump, slide, shot, or anything like that, but just moving around the map was a little bit quicker than some recent Battlefield titles. So I felt like just the base movement was fine, but I do understand that the jump shotting and slide shotting and drop shotting, all that's really not a Battlefield thing. That's more of a Call of Duty thing. So I am glad that DICE has addressed this. They said movement mechanics have been adjusted to create more balance and traditional Battlefield experience. Momentum, especially horizontal speed carried from a slide into a jump, has been reduced. And that was one big issue. You could run and slide in the beta and hop up really quickly, and I guess it was just the momentum of that slide that was allowing that. But it was pretty wild. If you kind of got your timing down, it was pretty easy to do. Your shot was still a bit off, but it was still fairly accurate, and you could beat some players because I don't think they were expecting you to be able to do that. There is now a greater penalty for consecutive jumps, which lowers jump height when jumps are spammed. Firing while jumping or sliding will result in increased inaccuracy. So bunny hopping to kill somebody or jump shotting someone or even sliding into your shot is going to cause you to be less accurate. And I think that's how it should be, because if they're making somewhat of a realistic style shooter, and let's just be real, no video game is realistic when it comes to a shooter, but if you're wanting to go with something a little bit more realistic, jump shotting and slide shotting is probably not something that you would normally do in real life. So I can see why that has been changed, and I do think that is probably a good change. These changes are designed to make sliding and jumping more situational, so they are no longer ideal options for engaging in gunfights and will contribute to gameplay pace that rewards skillful movement without becoming too fast or unpredictable. And I think that's the main thing. Battlefield has always been known for cover-to-cover gunfights, staying with your team, staying with your group. Now, you can go lone wolf in Battlefield and, find some success on flanks and stuff like that. But overall, it's been known to be this big game that's team-based, that's, destruction-based, that rewards you for, moving around the map skillfully. Also, burst firing your weapon, not just holding down the trigger and, shooting someone across the map like a laser beam. So I think they're trying to tone back what was going on in the beta in general with movement, so that if you're running around the map and you're slide shotting and your gun was really accurate, that's not going to be the experience most people have come to expect when it comes to a Battlefield game. So toning all of this down is a good thing. I still think you should be able to use movement for certain situations. Sliding to get around a corner if somebody is shooting at you and you need to get to cover real quick, or maybe you're sliding around a corner to revive a teammate, if you're running support. That is, kind of what that mechanic is there for, and I think that is the perfect place for it. But sliding around a corner to shotgun somebody or sliding around a corner and jump shotting somebody is definitely not, I think, where they were going or what direction they were going in when, the movement was introduced probably into the game right off the bat. I don't think that was something they expected to see. But of course, over the years, not just in Call of Duty, just in a lot of different first-person shooters, jump shotting, bunny hopping, slide shotting, drop shotting has been something that a lot of those games, kind of tailor towards. They don't really penalize you for it. So many players out there, if they play different FPS games, have learned to do that from those other games. So once the beta came out, of course, a lot of people were going to try and see if those movement techniques worked inside of Battlefield, and unfortunately they did. But the good thing was, of course, we had 2 weekends of the beta for DICE to kind of gather all this information and figure out what needs to be changed within the movement system. And I think these were really good changes. Like I said, the base movement I have no problem with whatsoever, but the jump shotting, the slide shotting, the bunny hopping, I do think needed to be adjusted. And I think right now it sounds like it's going to be in a good place. Now we will have to wait and see if there needs to be some more changes after release. Of course, this is not going to get tested like it did on the scale of the beta. I'm sure they're still going to be testing within the Battlefield labs. But when it comes to the mass amount of players, kind of taking advantage of that movement system, they're going to have to wait until the launch of the game to really see if these changes are kind of in their final form or if they need to do even more. One more thing they did talk about when it comes to movement was the parachute physics. I'm sure most of you noticed when you opened your parachute that you were moving extremely fast. The momentum that you had gained from just opening your chute till you hit the ground was crazy. And sometimes you would hit stuff and it would kill you. That was absolutely insane how quick you would move. You really did not have any controlled movement. They said they have retuned the parachute physics to give you more control of that aerial movement. So that is also a good thing there. That definitely needs to be worked on, because if you're on a map that is larger, and we know there's going to be some bigger maps in the game that have really tall buildings, you want to parachute off of them, that speed was probably going to not really maybe get you killed because you're moving so quickly somebody might not be able to shoot you out of the air, but you were probably going to overshoot any destination you were trying to go to because the movement was so fast. So now having more control of that aerial movement is going to be a good thing. Leave me a comment with your thoughts. Let me know what you think about these movement changes, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.